It's New York Comic Con 2025, one of the greatest pop culture celebrations in the country. Panels, autographs, cosplays, hauls, highlights, celebrity sightings, exclusive reveals, and the ultimate fandom community all in one place. I had such an insane weekend, but also George R.R. Martin said something to me personally that made me want to flip tables and start a fight, so we have a lot to cover in this video. We headed into the city Wednesday night, and this was one of the most nerve-wracking parts of the whole weekend for me. However, I will say I'm so grateful that I have my van because I was reading about some people's struggles just finding hotel rooms, and it would have likely added an extra like $1,000 minimum, and that would have just made attending this weekend completely out of my budget. I actually used to live in my van in New York full-time, but since then a lot of my normal go-to stealth camping spots have been shut down or just don't exist anymore, so I actually had a list of 5 options for us to try to find a spot to sleep, and I went into this thinking it might take a few hours and to expect that so I wouldn't get frustrated, because the last time I tried to park in the city, I drove around for hours and ended up crying from anxiety of New York drivers and just leaving because I couldn't find anything. But I learned a lot from that, which is probably why the first place we tried worked out, and it was perfect for the whole weekend. So it's currently 5 a.m. and while the convention floors don't even open until 11, it takes an hour to get there by subway and over an hour just to get ready, because honestly, what cosplayer ever has their outfit fully finished before the day of the con? And I still have a lot of work to do on my outfit. Today, my cosplay is Rumi from K-pop Demon Hunters, and a big part of why is because I already owned this jacket. I wore it for the Taylor Swift concert last November when I replicated her outfit from the Reputation tour, and my goal for my cosplay every day is to not buy anything that I can't integrate into my everyday wardrobe afterwards, besides the wigs. Because I was thinking about ordering a Queen Maeve or Supergirl costume, and I just felt like it was a waste of money because what will I do with it after? And living in a van, I just don't have the space or the money for that. Like, I bought this jacket for the concert last year and it's been sitting in my closet untouched ever since, and even though I haven't worn it, it was still very emotionally hard to cut it up. But the only thing I needed to buy for this cosplay was the white top and the gold belt, which I'm definitely going to wear again in everyday life, but also I was looking at it and I can kind of already see how I could make this top into like a Princess Leia cosplay. If you're familiar with my channel, you may know my boyfriend and I have never made a big trip vlog like this before, and we're still trying to figure out the art of maneuvering around each other and being able to just both get ready at the same time when my whole house is just one hallway and we both need to use the same spaces. We struggle doing much of anything in here if it's not one person at a time doing things, but we won't get too much into that in this video because we have a lot to do this weekend. Before we left, I had to do work for an hour because I had a video due to a company, and life is all about balance, and I'm just trying to keep it realistic here. All right, I'm officially ready for New York Comic Con. One day I'm going to get to San Diego Comic Con, and that's going to be so crazy. That's like a dream. That's like a dream trip. And the final piece of my cosplay is Rumi's sword, and I love it so much. Like, I feel so official. While I did get Rumi's sword for my cosplay, I didn't bring it with me, partly because it's fragile and 3D printed, but also because I would have had to hold it in my hand the entire day for hours, and while it does complete the outfit, I just knew that would be annoying. I also wanted to wear my cute black heels, but I knew that was also a terrible idea. I know a lot of cosplayers don't believe in this, but for me, it was comfort over a fully accurate cosplay every time. There is just so much to see and do, and I don't want anything to hold me back. All the lock security cameras, alarm systems.
New York City.
Usually when I go to an event, I can check out the schedule like an hour ahead of time and be ready. However, with New York Comic Con, I have actually been preparing for months. Sure, you could buy a ticket on a whim and show up, but to really get the most of everything, I've been making schedules, planning sessions, registering for exclusive panels, following all of the announcements, trying to memorize the show floor, and I'm still walking into this feeling a little overwhelmed. I saw some posts talking about how all of the homework for New York Comic Con feels overwhelming in itself. The list of panels alone takes hours just to scroll through, and they're always adding and subtracting and changing them. Welcome to the Javits Center, home of New York Comic Con, and within seconds, I already saw someone cosplaying my favorite TV show, The Boys. But as we kept walking, I started to feel fear set in, as it seemed like this line was never ending. But luckily, this is just the will call line, not the line to enter. But still, it is past noon, so this line is insanity. And before we walk in, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who subscribed to my channel and watches my videos, especially those of you who love and support my more nerdy and unique videos, because I'm actually here on a content creator pass, which means New York Comic Con gave me a free 4-day pass in exchange for 3 pieces of content on my social media platforms. However, we did buy David's passes, and that was $80 a day, so he's only going Thursday and Friday, and I'm going the rest of the days. But that also wasn't just because of the price, but because Saturday and Sunday were sold out. While prepping and reading Reddit, I learned that Thursday tickets never really sell out, which means it's the easiest day to walk through the con because there's the least amount of people. But also, some people feel it's crazy that Sunday tickets are the same price since the convention ends hours earlier that day. And it seems like ticket prices have been going up by $5 every year since 2020. It's $80 a day this year and $260 for a 4-day pass. VIP is $800, and there's a thing called Superfan that's $100. Which basically just helps people get a better chance when signing up for panels and autograph sessions to get everything they want because things sell out fast. However, I will say I did not sign up for Superfan and I still got every panel I wanted. Welcome to our first convention floor. There are 4 total levels the con is held on, and they are massive. By the end of the weekend, David and I were in so much pain from all of the walking we did, and we both may have ended up falling asleep during a panel. We were just so exhausted from how busy and packed our schedules were, but I'm really glad that I carved out time for us to just pace the showroom floor because there were countless exhibitors with such unique trinkets and creations from every fandom you could possibly imagine. However, this is Thursday, the least busy day, and we're already walking shoulder to shoulder with people struggling to even get a good look at booths, so this was kind of hard to film and get, a good glimpse for you. However, there are so many YouTube videos of people just walking the show floor, and my favorite New York Comic Con videos are the cosplay compilations people make. Walking around the show floor is a test of self-control because there are hundreds and hundreds of booths of all of my favorite things by small businesses who are just so creative. Luckily, I really don't have any walls to hang art on or places to store big movie props, so VanLife saves me yet again from overbuying as usual. But I did buy something from this one Lego minifigure booth. I really wanted a Lloyd from the Lego Ninjago movie, but they didn't have any of those, which is weird because it's the Lego movie. But I still just couldn't pass these up. They had a deal going that was exclusive for Comic-Con that was 5 for $20, so I went out on a hunt to figure out which ones of these I could glue to my dashboard in my van. My all-time favorite TV show is The Boys on Amazon Prime, and they had almost every character from the show. So the first minifigure I got was Billy the Butcher with the laser eye baby and a crowbar. And then I really wanted to get Frenchie and Kimiko. They're my favorite, but there was so many options. So I thought Homelander holding the milk was hilarious, and Maeve is my favorite. And then my last Lego was Huey with the freaking detonator, which is just absolutely diabolical. And the Harry Potter holding Hedwig on a skateboard was David outfit's choice. Also, Karl Urban from The Boys is here this weekend. He's signing autographs and taking photos, but I just didn't have it in me to pay $75 for that. But I didn't realize he was starring in the new Mortal Kombat movie, so I could have seen him at that panel without paying more money. That was probably my biggest miss and regret from the weekend, was missing that panel. Karl Urban, in my opinion, is legendary. He's in Lord of the Rings, Thor Ragnarok, and Star Trek, but I think it all just goes to show that no matter how much planning you do, you'll still probably miss something because there is just so much going on here. One of the really cool things about Comic-Con is you really never know who you're gonna see. And as we're just walking around and turning this corner, I found a true icon and legend himself who I never expected to see here, the Cabbage Merchant from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
My cabbages! You're gonna pay for this! My cap! Oh, forget it!
That was the highlight. That was it. We got it.
My cabbages!
Dreams are coming true today. Then we learned they had exclusive Cabbage Merchant merch at the Nickelodeon booth, so I made David walk all the way across the show floor again, non-stop, to find it. But it was definitely worth it because their booth was just so creative, and they even recreated the secret tunnel from the show, and it felt like I was just really walking through Avatar, which was so magical.
A new place, a new home, for a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky.
Off with their heads! One for each head of cabbage!
Silence!
I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day, 'cause I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay, 'cause I found my way.
We spent the rest of the day just walking the show floor, looking at booths, and the last thing we did was see a stand-up comedy show. And it was horrible. It was atrocious. It was really bad. We hated it. And then we walked back to the van and immediately crashed and just fell asleep. I always feel silly filming in the van because I know a lot of people are curious about what van life's like, but I do the exact same things anyone else would do in a house or a hotel. I washed my face, grabbed a snack, and passed out. It's not that interesting, I swear. But for day 2, my cosplay is a Spider-Gwen, aka Gwen Stacy from the Spider-Man universe, and it's actually just a bodysuit hoodie from Etsy and a wig I bought for a Starlight costume a few years ago.
I feel so cute right now. To be honest, a huge part of coming here, I feel like I felt so ugly the last few weeks, and I feel like you've heard me say that a few times. But
being crazy.
but I wanted to feel pretty again, and I think that's why I put money into getting the cosplay outfits. And is it bad if I say I feel pretty right now? I'm having so much fun. This is the best weekend ever.
Also, I went camping last week, and this has been a upsetting reoccurring occurrence for a week straight. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta squish them, but you can't get the guts on the wall. a quick terrible attempt at the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man dance, and now we're out the door and on our way to day 2 of Comic-Con. Something I did not plan was how freaking epic it would feel to cosplay a New York City character in New York City. I enjoyed being Rumi yesterday, but to be a version of Spider-Man in New York City made me just ecstatic. We were running a little late, but I just couldn't help but taking a moment to just enjoy the New York scenery. And the Javits Center is only a few minutes from Times Square, and I just love New York so much. Another regret I'm now having looking back is not finding filming locations from Spider-Man to see while I was in Spider-Man cosplay. That would have just been the cherry on top of a great day. One of my favorite parts of Comic-Con are what they call meetups, which is where you can meet people who love the same fandoms as you. And everyone wearing cosplay for that fandom get together and take big group pictures, and everyone's making niche jokes and references, and I just know I'm where I belong in this building. Sure, there's a lot of fandoms here I don't know or aren't a part of, like One Piece is a huge fandom here this weekend, but I don't have the patience to watch the 800 episodes it takes to get into that show. But that's the thing, there truly is something for every pop culture lover here. And as someone who feels like they're constantly making movie references that they feel like no one around them understands, that's not the case here. This girl laid down and made the most horrible funny joke, and everyone immediately got it, and it was, oh, we erupted in laughter. It was so great. This is a place where you can find your people, the people who get your jokes and who you can have in-depth breakdown discussions on all your favorite topics and theories and just feel accepted and understood instead of like a nerdy outcast. About a week ago, I was reading a post on a VanLife Facebook group and someone had asked, what VanLife YouTubers do you recommend watching? And I was just scrolling through and someone had said something along the lines of, I like Tori Delury's channel, but she's hard to watch sometimes. And I decided to just politely comment back and just, try to learn from it and ask, is my music too loud or sometimes do I talk too fast? And I just would love to know and get that kind of feedback and work on it. But then his answer kind of surprised me by saying that sometimes I just get too niche and nerdy and just he isn't into that kind of stuff, which is totally valid and fair and makes sense and his right to say and feel and not watch, I completely understand. To each their own for sure. And that's just how the world and YouTube works. And I knew I read that and I had to say to myself, I'm not everyone's cup of tea and that's okay, even though a part of me felt like a weirdo and an outcast reading that. And if you watch my channel, I talk a lot about how sometimes I feel like an outcast because I'm a van lifer who doesn't really like hiking or the outdoors and I love this kind of stuff. And it just made me feel like more of an outcast in the van life community reading that, even though he was very sweet, had good intentions, nothing on him at all. But it just felt like reading that sometimes I'm hard to be around because of the things that I love. But loving Marvel and Fourth Wing and K-pop Demon Hunters and The Boys and just movies and books and escaping to other worlds is a big part of who I am ever since I was in middle school. And I skipped school to watch the first Hunger Games movie and I just could not wait for the next one to come out. I was exhilarated. I was attached to the screen. And it was the first time I ever picked up books to read on my own, and then I binge read the rest of the series, which just catapulted my love for reading and fantasy worlds. So this is who I am, and to be in a place where that's celebrated is so validating and beautiful. But also, we live in a world now where we used to feel way more pressure to conform ourselves to fit into the community around us. But now with the internet and media and events like this, we don't have to be alone in the things that make us weird or odd in our everyday communities. Now we can just log on to the internet or go to an event like this and find people who are just like us and feel less alone. I did not have a cell phone when I was in high school, so I remember I would finish reading a book and just have to sit there with so much excitement, and I had no one to share it with. I had to just contain it. So then I would just pick up the next book or start rereading it over again because the pages were the only place where people were also interested in the same things as me. But now I can open YouTube and watch book analysis videos and join Facebook groups where we dissect every little facet of what an author maybe meant, and it just brings the media to life and gives it a whole new meaning. And it makes it all feel so much more real and exciting. A really popular van life type book is Into the Wilds, and something that the author says is, happiness is only real when shared. While I don't personally fully agree with that statement, as I've traveled solo for a very long time and experienced multitudes of happiness, I do think there's a kind of beauty in the kind of happiness that is finding your people. As someone who traveled solo for years and holds on to my independence with a death grip and truly values solitude, I am still in awe and wonder at the people here, who spent months on their perfect cosplay and how everyone we met is just full of joy and kindness. I was the girl who ate lunch alone in the corner of the library, who had to stop packing carrots because they crunched too loud. I just didn't ever feel like anyone was like me or valued the same things as me. So I became an outcast of technically my own making. But still, I was on the phrase, always looking in from the outside, and to be in a building full of people like me who have the same interests as me is such an electrifying feeling. But also, on the flip side, this is one of the few adventures I haven't done solo in a while. But I did notice something incredible, which is that there were a lot of people who came alone. A lot. And that was, for me, shocking and incredible to see, because I travel a lot and I'm almost always the only person who's going to places like events and museums and tours solo. I think it's really a testament to how open the community here really is, and that people feel safe and accepted to come here alone. Because I know that's something a lot of people really struggle with, but honestly, I'm the opposite. I struggle letting people in and going places with people. But there was a moment this weekend where I understood what the author of Into the Wild was trying to say, because usually the kind of joy I feel traveling alone is like a silent, peaceful kind of happiness. But with David here, it was like all of that love and excitement could pour out of me. And I would literally get excited about something and jump up and down, and I didn't feel like I had to contain my joy because there was someone there to experience it with me. Anyway, so right now I'm getting in line for a panel at the main stage, and any panel at main stage or Empire stage needed reservations, which were all done online about 2 weeks ago. If you plan on coming to Comic-Con, here is the most valuable piece of information I could give you that I did not know because no one mentioned it anywhere online. Okay, so I arrived very early to every panel that I got into, trying to get the best seat possible. But once you get in there, what you want is an edge seat, so that when they say people can move up and fill in the VIP empty seating, you are ready. But also, if it does not happen, you'll still have a good seat. But the hidden little secret thing I want you to know is that in the 2 big panels I went to, one for Has-Been at the main stage and Marvel at the Empire stage, both times they invited everyone in cosplay for that show or universe to sit in the VIP sections first. So if you're in the matching cosplay, you might get a better seat.
And say hello to the voice of Vox, Christian Borle.
Hello, New York Comic-Con. Are you ready for Has-Been Hotel Season 2? More is coming! It's fucking hot in here. Hold on a minute. I'm just fucking with ya!
So I just lost the game, so now so did you. I really love Loungeflies, and it was really hard to not buy any this weekend. They even had some that were exclusively sold only at this show, but the one I loved the most was the little Togepi one. I really had to exhibit self-control. They also had exclusive Funko Pops, but it was such a popular booth you had to reserve a time slot ahead of time, and they all sold out almost instantly. I would say though, the hardest thing for me to not buy all weekend was all of the incredible replicas from Marvel movies. These were so incredible and just so realistic and fun. The next panel on our schedule was seeing Post Malone talk about his new comic called Big Rig.
How we doing, New York Comic-Con?
Big Rig is like a giant truck that has machine guns and is sent back in time after falling from space, or something like that. He was also at his exhibitor booth all weekend signing autographs and just, doing cool Post Malone type stuff. Later in this video, I also happened across Bad Bunny and I just didn't even know, partly because I don't listen to Bad Bunny, but it was cool anyway. So while I found the panel interesting, David fell asleep and started snoring, so I had to wake him up. But I mostly found the panel interesting just hearing about the process of how a comic book comes to life and the process of idea into publishing. Something I really didn't expect when I bought these tickets for Comic-Con was how much this trip would inspire me as a writer, not just from seeing writers and comic book artists and playwrights, etc., and hearing their stories of trials and triumphs, but also from how many classes and panels they had to help teach and inspire. I went to one on carving out your niche as a writer, another about genre bending, and my favorite was The Woman in Fantasy, Shaping New Worlds. And as an aspiring novel writer who currently writes for George Magazine and hopes to continue on a writing journey in the future, and as someone who got into van life hoping to one day move into the woods and just write, this really sparked my motivation to start working on more writing projects, and it also taught me a lot about the process of getting published from some of the biggest authors of the moment, so that was really cool and unexpected. I'm surprised, it used to be nasty.
I've never had it before.
At this point of the day, we are both exhausted and our feet and back are killing us. So while we had so much more we wanted to do, we just ended up taking a little nap to get ready for the final panels of the day. He went to see a comedy panel and I went to see Veronica Taylor, the original voice for Ash Ketchum in Pokemon, in a panel for a new musical called Balls, which is a spoof parody of Pokemon.
To Veronica Taylor!
Let me just warm up here. Okay, let's go. Let's hit it.
Interior, Professor Oak's laboratory, day.
Oh, hey, Professor.
Hello there, Ash. Welcome back. I haven't seen you since way back when you were 10. How old are you now?
I'm 10.
Well, it's been like 30 years.
I'm 10.
Okay. Whatever you say, well, that makes sense, Ash, the way you say it. I know this is going to come as a shock to you, but the reason you're so good with Pokemon is because, are you sitting down?
Yeah, I'm short, but I am sitting down.
Because you are one.
Huh? Wait. What?
Well, Mr. Mime, you know Mr. Mime? He is your biological father.
Wait, is that why I always wear gloves?
And scene! Oh, give them a big round of applause.
Professor, I thought we had a little chat. I am Warlord Turtle, the Warlord of Turtle Cow. I have to be very judicious in what I say as Ash, because Ash is each of us, and Ash is 10. I do think too that Pokemon now is so different because all of you have experienced Pokemon and it has affected you so deeply that that is what has made it the true phenomenon, that it can be passed down through friendships and through your generations. And Pikachu's my favorite too. I love the relationship that Ash and Pikachu have.
Right.
I think it sets up everything for all of us.
Pikachu is the only monster that I could trust to take Ash on his journey.
Oh, thanks, Professor.
I can't even tell you how magical and euphoric it is to sit in a room and hear your favorite character's voice live and like right there in front of you. It's so trippy and cool. After these panels though, our last thing of the night was to check out the talent show and the karaoke room.
I learned when I was a girl, I fell into your arms.
Wasted wandering, Wayne County.
So day 3 is upon us, and I'm going alone today since tickets were sold out so quickly. And also because David was really exhausted, I did find someone selling their ticket day of for $50 on Facebook Marketplace, but he was all conned out, which I get. I was also exhausted, but I had a packed schedule, so there was no rest for me. I was still up at 5 a.m. this morning and had to get to the convention center earlier than ever because I wanted to be in the front of the queue for my first panel, and I also knew everyone else wanted to be there too, because this morning is George R.R. Martin's featured panel. If you're unfamiliar, George R.R. Martin is the author of the epic fantasy A Song of Fire and Ice, which became adapted into the global phenomenon and HBO series Game of Thrones.
How many of you here are aspiring writers? I tell them, this is not a profession if you are someone who needs security.
As an aspiring writer, I enjoyed what he had to say about being an author, and as someone who does social media for a living, I did really relate to what he meant when he said there are some professions that are not meant for people who need security and financial stability. And while I did decide to never read his books after getting a few episodes into the TV series, and physically not being able to watch any more after the ridiculous amount of incest, misogyny, naked, uncensored women, and brutal treatment of females, I can still respect his legacy, platform, and skills, even if I don't like his actual work. Because in my perspective, I felt like watching Game of Thrones was essentially watching porn for how many sex scenes there were in the first few episodes, which is ironic based on what he says to me in my autograph session about women's fantasy books. And honestly, I really struggle with my reaction to what he said because on one hand, he was very kind and took the time to excitedly answer my question. He didn't just push me along the assembly line, he really wanted to give me good advice. Like, I hate when people meet their favorite celebrities and just want an autograph or a photo because you're losing that moment. The person you idolize is standing right in front of you. They aren't a tourist attraction. You can learn so much from these people in just a few moments. But my boyfriend often points out to me that I give people the benefit of the doubt too often. And on the other hand, what George said was sexist, incorrect, and frankly, it was hurtful to hear one of the biggest authors of our generation belittle female fantasy literature. So just a little backstory while we wait. My favorite books that inspire me are stories like Throne of Glass, Hunger Games, Six of Crows, The Fifth Wave, Fourth Wing, and A Court of Thorns and Roses. I like female-led, high fantasy, dystopian books. However, the internet has for some reason belittled so many of the books in this genre to smut, which makes me want to scream because honestly, Throne of Glass is one of the greatest pieces of literature this world will ever know, and to call it smut because there's romance in it belittles the depth, beauty, and serious nature of the story and how it's changed my life and made me a better person. But honestly, it's not just novels. Women's interests in general are so often belittled. You think of a fangirl and you hear words like obsessive and crazy. But what about men who watch football games and get dressed up and scream and yell and break things? They use words like dedicated and passionate for them. Hi.
Hello.
Do you have a quick piece of writing advice for a writer?
For a writer?
Yeah.
Well, write and write more.
That's
and
good.
Send out the stories and click the rejection slips, but don't let them discourage you. Write some more.
Sounds good.
Also, it would be good if you had a rich boyfriend or a girlfriend or a trust fund.
You know, you're right. I'll work on those.
Okay, yeah, it's sometimes the money thing, it doesn't work out so easily.
Understandable.
So are you a writer?
I am, yeah.
What have you written? Have you written any books?
I'm working on like a novel.
Working on a novel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Fantasy?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Straight fantasy, or is it going to be one of those?
Like girl fantasy, like romantasy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm told that I need lots of sex.
I feel sad that I politely laughed when inside my stomach instantly dropped and I wanted to say so many things. But to belittle all female fantasy books and even female romance books to a lot of sex is just straight up sexist, and yet so many people do it. But there can be a whole 7-book series and 5 pages will have spicy scenes and they'll call the whole book porn. But you know what I never hear? People call Game of Thrones porn. But these books are so much more. Like, I read A Court of Mist and Fury whenever I feel depressed, and I just need to read from a perspective of someone who feels what I'm feeling, and then it helps me to read her going through it and coming out of it triumphant. And Throne of Glass is about how tiny acts of kindness over many, many years can win a war. And yeah, there's like 3 scenes across 8 books, but also to have these words coming from someone who writes graphic scenes where is used to belittle, overpower, manipulate, and hurt women, and then he says he has to because it's historically accurate, is what really sent me over the edge. Like, were the dragons and walking through fire historically accurate too? So because his use of sex and plots isn't primarily romantic, but instead used for manipulation, gratuitous violence, and power dynamics, that makes it not smut. But I digress. I will not get lost in the frustration because the next panel of the day is something I have always dreamed of going to for years. This is the iconic Marvel panel where they announce the latest movies and series in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We all want to see the trailer, right? What's up? Hi, everyone. I guess you're a little familiar with New York, huh? Yeah, I am now. Yeah. Man, that looks amazing what we just saw. Well, I didn't get to see it, so... How Matt Murdock of you? It sounds great. So I'm like, great. 20 more years. Till he's 90.
We are so back.
Wonder Man!
I'm ready to give it away. Y'all ready? Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Hold on to your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, Wonder Man.
You're all so beautiful.
Then I think we should roll it.
Thank you so much, New York.
I was quite literally on the edge of my seat the entire panel. It was insane. But now that my dreams have come true, I am going to do the #1 thing I recommend for anyone coming to Comic-Con. There are so many panels, exhibitors, meetups, and just things to do all weekend long, but some of my favorite memories were just finding a balcony and watching all of the cosplays go by. Comic-Cons would not be what they are without so many people showing up and going all out on their cosplays. And from up here, it's like a giant game of Where's Waldo, but with your favorite characters, and they never stop coming.
Drown out the sound. I wish I knew what you were thinking about. Is this thing in my head delusional till I die, babe? At least we stand a chance then, right? It's been years and it still kills me. Your dynamite, so pretty. Hold on, darling, don't let me down. Hope that you feel it too, just give me a sign. 'Cause I know it ain't over. You feel it too, right? So until next time, hold on.
Because I was alone, I took my wig off to ride the subway so I would be less of a target and not draw attention to myself. But I'm really glad that this trip helped me conquer my fear of staying in New York City. Watching the news lately had me really scared to come here, but now that I've gotten back here after all this time by myself, I feel like I could be back here again soon.
I feel like I understand that part of K-pop Demon Hunters when they're like, couch, 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 couch.